Hey everyone, and welcome to Laser Source, the #1 laser engraving podcast. Whether you're just getting into lasers or you're trying to level up and grow your laser business that exists already, we're going to cover all of the latest tips and tricks, new techniques, new technologies, and more, as well as getting the perspective and experience from other laser engraving professionals through interviews and hangout sessions. So if you are interested at all in laser engraving, regardless of your skill level, this is exactly the place you want to be. Every single week, we cover new topics and perspectives to make sure that you have a well-rounded understanding of what's going on in the laser world. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn, because we're going to cover a bunch of new stuff, and we're getting started right now.
We're just starting. It's the first take.
Oh, so loud.
Shit.
Oh
so
my
they
God.
do that so you can edit that you're not helping with the...
Welcome to the Laser Source podcast, the #1 podcast if you're looking to grow or scale your existing laser business, or if you're just looking to get started. We are going to have all of the tips and info and experiences right here that are going to jumpstart you on your journey with lasers. So I'm really excited to be here today. We've got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. I'm joined by Tacky.
Hey.
And Tony.
What is going on?
Tony's really excited for today's topic, which is the business. Right. How to start the business. What are the first steps? What are the first things that you need to do in order to legitimize this hobby now that you're maybe starting to make some money? You want to plan the right way. So have you guys done any kind of business setup yet? How far are you in that process? I'm going to talk at the end because I've done this all already and I've had it done for quite a while. So I don't want to just dump a bunch of information until I find out where you guys are at, because I'm really curious how far you've gotten through the process of kind of setting up your own business, if at all. I guess We'll start with Tacky, because you're in my top left corner. So
Sure. Yeah. I contacted a CPA. I asked what I needed to do in order to set up a business, in order to write off the expenses of these really expensive lasers. So I got a hold of one. They suggested setting up an LLC at first, which I had them set up for me, registered in my state. And they said down the line, once the business becomes profitable, I can switch to a sole proprietorship. Or sole proprietor. I don't think it's called sole proprietorship anyway. And they said
S-Corp?
Yes, or S-Corp. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you. They said to switch to that, and that'll have more, I guess, tax incentives once it gets to the point where you're doing more than, operating at a loss. So I said, yep, you know better than me. That sounds great. So I got that set up. I still need to get a business account set up. I haven't started taking orders. I've done nothing but spend money up to this point. And they said it didn't matter where the money is coming from at first anyway. So if I bought the laser out of my own pocket, one of the mini lasers, that it's still an operating expense, and you can borrow money from yourself as a personal loan that you pay back to the business. So even stuff that I bought last year, it's a business expense. It is an operating cost in the pursuit of your business. So it all works out. So great. Okay. So next step is I have a specific bank I want to go to, and I have to go in person in order to do that. And, scheduling hasn't been great, but the LLC was the most important part because, you're protecting yourself. Your name isn't necessarily associated with the business. I got a PO box set up, so all my mail for the business goes to that. Other than that, I don't think that anything else has been done. I do have a little bit of social media set up. Still want to do the website with the shop, very similar to what Alex has done. Probably hasn't been talked about on the podcast yet, but he has a lot of really good information on how to set up your shop store, getting a subdomain set up, getting all your merchant stuff done. That's, a totally different podcast, but I'm rambling now. So let's hear from
Yeah,
me and
we'll
Gio.
definitely cover that. Have you do you have sales tax in your state,
Yes,
Packy?
yes, we do. It's
Did you
like
have
seven
to
and a half or
register
8%.
with an agency for that?
There was a separate, like I said, my CPA did. I saw a couple of different things come through. One of them was the LLC, and the other one was a employment identification number. So that set up. I think that was more for
That's
tax
federal.
reasons than anything else.
Yep.
As far as
Yep.
taxes, nope. That's another thing to follow up on.
Okay.
There's one
And
for food, and there's
cover
one
some
for
tips
just for
on that.
sales. Yeah.
I'll cover some tips on that at the end too. I was just
Yeah,
curious because I know some states don't collect sales tax at all. Yeah, that's good though. That's good. That's like a really, really strong foothold that both of you seem to have. Tony's probably aspiring to that. Have you done anything yet, Tony?
Man, I don't know where to start.
Well,
I'm not gonna lie, man. I think the whole business thing, man, social media as a whole, I think that's harder for me. But what I've done so far is I did apply for a LLC. Um, I was gonna do it by myself, but Geo and I and Geo were on a session, and we were like, yeah, nope, no, sir. So I contacted LegalZoom. I did the non-expedited one because from now to 30 days, I have time to think other things. Like if I want to do what's the word I'm looking for? It's called we were just talking about it the other day. Registered agent. So that way I don't get, I guess, a quote unquote ton of mail to the house, and I got time for that. So that's why I wasn't in a rush to get it like in 3 days and pay the extra. Like it was like an extra like 300 just for them to get it in a few days or whatever. So we got the LLC going. The website, I was starting to do it. That quickly turned into a freelancer.com project.
Sure.
Quickly. Like I was just like, dude, I can't, man. Like it's hard, man. It's not hard. It's just it's so time consuming, and then you have to learn
tedious.
this thing. Yes, it's really like very tedious, and I think I made it very complicated for myself. The reason is because I want to use this plugin that was mentioned in the business area. It's called the Zakk, whatever the hell. Basically, it allows someone to go in there and customize their thing, and it takes all the back and forth. Yes, I know that I have no revenue coming in, but it's just that's one of the things that I wanted to do is stop this back and forth with people, because the little things that I've done here and there it was a lot of, oh, well, do you like this? Do you like that? And I can already see that if this thing kind of blows up, it's going to be a lot of, do you like this? We'll send it back here. I wanted to avoid that. Like, I kind of like the model that Geo is going to, where he wants to have a set product and output his own thing. I like that. But at the same time, I want to do customization, but I don't want to do that back and forth constantly. Like, oh, does this font's good? It's just, to me, it's just going to be time consuming. And it is, even though I've done a few things, and I can already tell that it's gonna be a pain.
So what I'm hearing from you, Tony, is that you love working with the lasers, making stuff. You don't want to deal with customers as much as possible. You don't want to have to deal with your bookkeeping. So if you're going to have a guy for your taxes, you're going to have a guy for your website, you're going to have a guy to ship out your stuff, or a girl, whoever. And then you're just going to be in the shop just burning coins and products, right? That's how you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm kind of setting it up. The main thing is, so I've had, let's say an example, I've got like 3 conversations going with 3 people that want something. And it just seems like it's a lot of, I'm not saying I don't want customer engagement. That's not my thing. But if someone can see something on a website, like, hey, I want this cup, and you can physically drag it where you want it and what you want, it takes away half of the battle. That's like half of the battle's done.
And you're not being paid for those interactions. You're not getting compensation for here's what I can do. So you want to help them make that decision quicker.
And don't get me wrong, some people do not understand what the difference is between engraving and sublimation. Like they
Yep.
don't know that. They think like, oh well, here's a picture, and it's like, and then I have to sit there and explain like, no, this is what a laser does. And again, I don't mind the customer interaction. I don't, but that's just time that I can just cut, and I'm catching it at a very small scale. And imagine if this thing is like way more and more, it just keeps amplifying. It's going to be more time me on this rather
Your
than
phone's going to
on
be off the
this.
hook like Alex.
I
Yeah.
mean, you guys know, you guys watch me literally on the live
Hmm.
streams. I spend 90% of my day doing consultations and 10% of my day firing the laser.
Hmm.
And it sucks, man. It's really not
It,
good. I've been very excited about the progress the YouTube channel has made, because when I'm doing YouTube and I'm making videos teaching people how to do this stuff, I spend 90% of my time on the laser. And
Hmm.
that's just like, I feel like that's been a really good way for me to kind of monetize this, in a way that I actually get to do more laser, because that's what I want to do is laser. So I'm envious of you guys who have a fresh start and can kind of tackle this from a really specific angle with a really focused goal. Because when I started, I was just like, I will engrave literally anything for anyone at any time. I didn't have a job because we had just moved to New York from California,
Mhm.
so I this was like the time, like I had to start, I had to go super hard, and I had to go in every direction at once just to hit everything that I could possibly hit to like get revenue to start. And now I've got like a name, and like we've got a big business, and we're known for laser engraving literally everything, and that's great. Like I'm glad that it's worked out, but also it sucks and I hate it.
It's a lot of
you know,
expense. It's a lot of expenses up front, and it's just
it's
what
so
just
much.
depends on what you want to spend on. And me, my thing is I want to take some of the guesswork, I guess. And yeah, I'm not getting any revenue, but that's another plugin that I want to add to the website, so that way I can funnel people. Hey, by the way, here's the actual cup or the coin. Put whatever you want on it, and then we'll kind of be done with that, and I can just go to work.
Yeah.
And
And if
some people are very sorry. Go ahead, Taki. If you had something to
I
say
was just
after
going to
me.
say, if you guys aren't following what we're talking about, Tony is talking about. We're on the Discord in the business area. We're talking about, it's basically a plugin where, say you want a coin, you want a challenge coin made. Well, instead of emailing back and forth and getting proofs from Tony, doing designs back and forth for you, what it is, it's a plugin for a website. You go to the website, you pick the coin color you want, and then there is a setup for you to upload your own artwork. You can put it on the coin, you can move it around, you can
Just
scale it
choose
up, scale it
what's on
down.
there.
There are these systems, like if you want to design your own custom like phone case, like with your own graphic, they're all around. But what it would do is you are designing your own product as a customer, and you are not having this
Hmm.
constant back and forth interaction with the owner or the operator who has to take their time away. So they are willing. Tony is willing. I'm sure a lot of you guys, myself included, are willing to, pay X amount to get this set up on your website, so that when they come up with a final product, they are basically approving the proof. They're sending it to you, and you're getting the final product to laser. So interesting.
Exactly. And another thing is me. As an example, me. If I'm gonna order a $100 Yeti cup, if I've ordered cups where I've had engraving done, this is way before this, and while I'm able to send them something, I always something about, I guess, humans just like to see visuals. Like I like to picture what the heck I'm getting, even though it's a computer generated image. I still like to see, okay, well, I'm getting a blue cup with this there. Okay, cool. Makes me feel better about that purchase. So while spending a little bit of money with this plugin, and that's why I went paid someone to do the website, because Wix works, but that plug the developer was like, look, we need to go WordPress because it'll be a lot easier for XYZ. He's a web developer. I was like, cool, sounds good to me. It's just like me, I work, I'm a net admin. There's just certain tools that work better. He suggested me, hey, let's keep Wix, the domain and email and all that stuff. Let's just move to WordPress. And I'm like, okay, yes, it's more money, but if this is gonna work for me, cool. It's more money up front. I'm just right now I'm just spending money, and I could just feel
I
when
think
things
WordPress is a great.
amplify, it's
I
better.
think WordPress is a great option if you have somebody else building your website for you.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know if I would recommend it if you're building your own, but if
Yeah.
you're having somebody else do it, I think that's an awesome move. That sounds like
yeah,
a really solid
I
plan.
have
Yeah.
someone doing that plugin, and I think with the plan that I'm going, I can add up to 25 items. So I can add like this is a new type of coin. It's like a dual
Hmm.
material, whatever. It's like the center. So I can add that to the website. I can add, say, an example, a dog tag. I can put a dog tag on there, and people can literally just pick what I have, drag and drop, put it where you want it, and be
Yeah.
done with it.
And 25 is
You
a
can
lot of
have,
items. Your
yeah,
tumblers, you'd only need to put one to color because they're all going to be the same color.
exactly.
You know?
Or type. It's like I have two different types of tumblers, three different types. So you
Hmm.
put those types of material, like those types of, I guess, sizing of things, and then they can just sit there and customize and scale it. And it once you save the file, it saves as a AI. It saves as a STL. So whatever file, it's like four or
Perfect.
five file extensions, and it's ready. It's ready, literally ready to go. So that's why, yes, it's a little bit of money, but
So
it is what it
follow
is.
up
It's a leap of faith.
video, follow up podcast discussing
Yes,
this plugin for anyone interested. But
yes.
on the business side, you are spending a ton of money up front. You're keeping track of your expenses for the write offs later down the line, or is that going to happen during tax time next year?
Um, I don't. I'll go through my statement and just search what I've spent, like the Wix and this. Like I'm not really like tracking it, but
You'll
I
pay a
Make
I
guy
sure
to
you
I
do
keep
can
that.
your
easily.
receipts because if you get audited, bank statements don't count.
Well, even if you order things from like Alibaba.
You need receipts,
Well,
man. I mean, you're probably
you need
getting Alibaba receipts in
invoices.
your email, so
Okay.
Yeah,
you
hold on
should
to
be having
those.
those. And I just you make a new email folder in your email account, and whenever you get like an order confirmation, like just dump it to that folder. Um, I do. I have a bookkeeper. I started with a bookkeeper like my very first day I was in business. I pay a guy when I started, and we had a very few transactions per month. I paid him $40 a month, and he logs into my bank account and he logs into my Square account where we take all of our payments for the website and the in-store shop and our invoices. We do all of that through Square. And he logs into the bank account, he logs into Square, and then he set up an email address for me, and I just email every receipt to that email address. I take a picture with my phone for paper receipts and I email it to that email address, or I just forward like order confirmations in my email to that email address. I just dump it all to him, and he accounts for everything and balances things against my bank account as it goes down to make sure that things are split between like personal and
Mm.
business. And then he takes all of that and he builds profit and loss statements for me. And then he sends at the end of the year, he sends all that information to my tax guy, and it's all prepared nice and easy for the tax guy, which saves me money. Not as much as I'm spending on the bookkeeper, but the bookkeeper's making it easier. But it still saves me some money with the tax guy too, because then he has everything all kind of laid out in proper financial format. They don't have to like go through my personal Excel sheets or notepads where I'm
Mm.
writing down like what receipts go to where and when. It's all prepared by a bookkeeper for him. I think now, even now, I have an immense amount of transactions now. Um, I still only
Must
pay
be
my bookkeeper
nice.
like $100 a month, which isn't
Mhm.
that bad considering the our revenue here.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you value your time as versus how long it would take an expert to do it? It would take you forever to do
yeah,
that.
and I just knew like I knew with the angle of approach that we were taking on the business, I was going to be too busy to do it really fast.
Mhm.
So I just outsourced that immediately because I don't have time to do like financial stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't. I barely have time to do like my regular job here,
Yeah.
let
Your
alone
time's
like keeping
limited.
track of all that. So sending that out, I mean, that just saved me a ton of time. The other thing that I do is I use taxjar.com. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, but
Haven't heard of it.
basically TaxJar will log into your state's like sales tax website or whatever. It like integrates with it, and then they plug into whatever your payment processor is where you're taking payments, and
Hmm.
they keep track of your transactions, what things are and aren't exempt from sales tax, and then
Hmm.
it files your sales tax for you every month like accurately based on the transactions that you showed them. So I don't keep track of like when I'm collecting sales tax or anything like that either. I just charge people how I'd normally charge them in store via invoice. Like if I'm sending something out of state, New York is so different states have different rules on this, but New York, it's where are the goods received by the customer is how you decide whether or not you charge sales tax. So if I ship something to Louisiana, I don't charge that customer sales tax because they're taking possession of the goods in Louisiana. But if somebody comes into my shop and I have to cash them out at the cash register, they're taking possession of the goods in New York, so they are charged sales tax. I don't have to think about any of that because TaxJar handles it. They look at Square, they see where the item was shipped to or where they cashed out or where the invoice was paid, and then they make the assumptions based on those things, filter everything out automatically based on whether or not they should have been charged sales tax, compare that with my revenue, and then file the sales tax for me with the state. And they do it every quarter like they should. That's just been like an amazing tool. Yeah, and that's $17 a month for that whole service, everything included.
What service? What is it again? Sorry.
It's called taxjar.com. JAR, taxjar.com.
I just got Square and the little thingy. Damn, there's so much crap.
We're saying it works with Square.
I'm literally sorry, guys. I'm literally getting gray hairs, like for real. You can see them. Like I'm not even joking. Like I saw one in my beard the other day. I was like, oh, that's the CO2 coming in right here. Because it's right here, setting that up, and then there's another one for social media somewhere around here. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. I think this business thing is setting up is so much. I just want to hit F2 and go. That's just me.
Once your systems are in place, if you did a good job setting them up, they're reliable and they don't take maintenance. You don't have to maintain them. They maintain themselves. That's the beauty of setting it up right and spending the time early on to get these things in place. Because once they're in place, I can't tell you the last time I thought about paying my sales tax, and at the end of the year, I don't worry about my finances at all because my bookkeeper's been keeping track of everything for me as I go. So I'm not going to have this point at the end of the year where I'm freaking out trying to get things together because he's been taking care of it for me the whole time. And then when I have to file my income tax, my tax guy's already got all the documents because my bookkeeper took care of it. The state's off my back because they've been getting their sales tax from TaxJar, and my taxes get filed, and I probably get a return because I have a good tax guy. And I did all the work up front, and now all of that stuff just is automated.
Yeah.
Like you want to do this is the financial version of your little program for laying the art out on the stuff that you want to sell on the website.
Oh,
but for business.
Yeah,
and I've set it all up.
Everyone has to do.
You have to do it. So why do it yourself and put yourself under that pressure when you can set up systems that'll just do it? They just do it themselves. I don't have to do anything now.
Right,
I literally don't even think about it. Well, it kind of is, man. I mean, like I said, TaxJar plugs into Square. Square handles your in-store payments, your invoices, and your web store sales. So you don't have to worry about that. I mean, all together, it's it all works together.
Let me look at this TaxJar.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that anyone starting a business and doing it legitimately needs to pay attention to. You want to be registered with the state as a type of business, whether it's an LLC, a sole proprietorship, S corp. That's important. You want to get your taxes taken care of, your state taxes. If you have payroll, that's a whole nother can of worms. If you're listening and you have, employees and you have payroll, then you're on a different scale than most of us are at, but that's part of it too. Your website, there's a lot of different things you want to keep track of. And it sounds like a lot, but just know that we're all going through this too. There are three of us, right here that you're looking at that are learning. We're in the process of doing this. And Alex is teaching us just like he's teaching everybody. And he had to learn it along the way too. So if you guys have questions,
and I'm still not an expert. I'm still figuring things out there.
Yeah. So,
yeah, there.
If you guys find something out or you have questions, Discord. Ask somebody in the channel. We'll find out together
on any of this.
Social media is a whole different league.
Yeah,
too.
we'll do an episode on social media.
Yeah,
for sure.
That needs a whole
growing your business.
Dude.
Advertising your brand. I think that's another episode that we can. There's so many different places you can reach out for business locally, online, all the different marketplaces, Etsy, Amazon. That there's a lot of content for that, and maybe by next week, Tony will be ready to talk about that one.
Seriously. So let me ask you this: so a person like me doesn't have an LLC yet, but bought machines and this and coins and all this other stuff. So get all the receipts, save them. How about if I just don't want to deal with it? Like, okay, my expense, I don't care. So once I get the LLC, it's
YOLO.
like a blank slate. Everything from that point on, I start
No,
saving.
no, you can work backwards. My
Yeah.
CPA, I'm
Okay.
I'm not speaking from a realm of knowledge, so if anyone wants to reach out and correct me, you can. My CPA said stuff that you have bought previously before establishing the LLC that was in pursuit of the business is a business expense and it can still be written off. I bought a 3D printer and I
But you
bought a desktop CNC machine that I used as a lasering system at first when I was starting up the business. And that was like back in November of last year. My LLC was established this calendar year. She said, nope, that counts. Just keep your receipts, document it, and we'll take care of it. I was like, okay, cool.
I think
Even
there
if it's a
is a
few
limit
$100s,
somewhere.
so
I don't know what the limit is, but I think I think there is you can't write off shit you bought 15 years ago for a
yeah,
completely
yeah. Oh,
different
of
reason
course,
and then
of
be like,
course.
so I just don't want to give people
I
the
bought
wrong
a
impression.
truck
But yeah,
3
I mean,
years ago. It's a tax write-off.
Tony should, these things, I mean, especially in Tony's situation, those things should absolutely be written off. Absolutely. But you talk to a professional about how to go about doing that, because I
well,
certainly don't know.
are we saying that if I had to, how about if I bought the machine used from someone and I didn't care about, I don't care what I spent
It's
on
still
it.
a business
I don't have
expense.
to. Do I have to?
It's
Right.
no. If
Okay.
you
Okay.
want
No,
the
Cool.
but
tax
That's what I'm asking.
write-offs, yeah.
Okay. No, that's what I'm asking. Some people like just rather just not deal with it. Like just
And
like,
if
oh, I don't
you're
care.
already paying a CPA and you're already paying a tax person and a bookkeeper, you might as well just give them a little bit extra to do to save you more money
Absolutely. Okay. I was just
moving forward.
asking to the point where it's like
a
you don't
lot more
have
money.
to.
That's like $8,000 off your tax bill with the
Yeah.
government. You should absolutely be writing that off. And they won't. Most places. I don't know about it. This might be a state by state thing. I don't think it is. I think it's a federal thing. Most places will either, when you're just starting a business, you can take the entire deduction the
The
first year,
lump.
or you
Yep.
can cost average the deduction over the next 5 years. So every year for the next 5 years, you can save a fifth of the startup costs too on your taxes instead. And so you have there's a lot of options, and there's a lot of uh, advantages that you can get from doing it. I wouldn't, if it was like I bought a toaster oven so I could make toaster strudels at the office, and then
Bagels.
I just didn't feel like sending that receipt in or whatever. Like, that's one thing. But if you spend $8,000 on laser equipment, you need to write that off, man. That's like a huge amount of money that you would not be paying in income tax. But the tank, well,
This
dude, I
thing
made a
is.
video on how to set
He's
it up.
nodding his head, by the way. He's saying,
I don't know why
yes, I don't want
I
it.
don't know why he's so upset by it. I have a guide video. It's a good guide.
Well, I know, but
He wants to pay a guy to do it for him.
I know.
so I don't listen. I don't want to merge. I don't want to merge this video into something else. Okay.
Oh,
F to it,
man.
man. F to
It's
it.
okay.
Let's go.
So bank accounts. Alex,
What?
talk to me. Bank
I
accounts.
I'm a sole proprietor, so my money is my money, and my business's money is my money. It's all my money. I am the business.
So
So
LLC guys like us
I
three.
just made
It's different.
a second checking account and under my main account, and I just keep my business stuff in there for the ease of my bookkeeper. But it's still my checking account. It doesn't belong to my business because I am the business. And I'm not going to leave it that way for long. I'm going to set up an LLC really, really soon. We're coming up on our 2-year anniversary here,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be shifting that over. I wanted to get started as fast as humanly possible, like I was explaining before, and for no money, because I didn't have any money because we just
Yeah.
moved
So
across the country. So you sole proprietor is like $25, and you sit down and a lady stamps a thing and you get a thing notarized and you're in business,
Done.
and that's it.
yeah.
So and that's not the most responsible way. If you have $700 and 3 weeks, get an LLC. It makes far more sense. But I didn't have 3 weeks or
Yeah.
$700 or whatever it costs. So I just jumped head first, and I was like, we'll figure it out later. The main thing that you get from having an LLC is it separates your assets from your
Yep.
personal assets and your business assets. So if the business gets sued or goes bankrupt,
Yep.
people can't take your house or your car.
Yeah.
So
LLC is limited liability company. The company's debts are the company's debts. and your debts are your debts. They can't come after you. So it's very important if something happens to protect your house and your own personal assets versus a couple $1,000s worth of equipment. And I don't know what debts you could incur with a laser company, but at the end of the day, you need to protect yourself.
So I heard, so the best or a good place to get a quote unquote business account, not just your personal checking account and then go under sub it like you did, is federal credit unions. This is just me slowly digging at details, but I hear that the best places to go is federal credit unions because the bigger name banks have like a minimum that you have to have like the checking account,
Okay,
and you
I'll come
get
at
like
you from the
huge
other
fees.
angle. Yeah,
But go
so
ahead. So
I'm
that's what I
I'm looking
heard.
into I'm looking into Chase Bank. They have like I don't know, they give you something like $700 free just to open an account. I love free money. I think we all
What?
do. Yeah,
Wait,
so I'm
wait,
like, what's the
Chase?
just Chase for Business? It's the simplest plan. All that they require is 2 grand minimum sitting in your
Okay,
account. And
okay.
within the first X months, you have to do so many transactions back and forth.
See,
I can put 2 grand and leave 2 grand in the account minimum, and then operating costs back and forth, whatever. That's me. I mean, I know not a lot of people. Some people are living by the
I'm
skin of their
gonna
teeth, and they want to make this
I
run.
don't,
But
I
I'm
don't
that's
gonna
think
me.
anything.
counter
Chase is
that
pretty big.
counterpoint and say I also like free money. And when you're part of a credit union, instead of making money for the owners of the banks, when credit unions loan money and charge interest, that interest is paid back to the people that have money in the accounts. So it's kind of
Mm,
like you're buying stock
yep,
in the bank. And the more money that you have in the bank, the more stock you have in the bank. So when your business gets really successful and you have a shit ton of money in the bank loans that money out to other people and the people pay interest on those loans, and
yep,
you see that back as dividends on your money. So you're actually getting paid to have money in the bank. It's not flashy $700 for opening an account, but if you have $1 million in that bank account someday because you're doing $300,000 a year revenue at your business, there you get paid for having that
yep.
money in there. And you're not
And that
making
interest is
bank
important.
yeah, you're not making bank managers money. You are making yourself money. The people who have money in the credit, that's what it's a credit union, is because it's a bunch of people
Hmm.
getting together, giving credit to
I
their neighbors, and then you
I
get
did
paid
not know
back
that.
for that.
I did
Yep,
So
not know
that's
it's,
the
that.
again,
difference.
it's sure, Chase for Business, probably a good option. Most people will likely go with a big bank. That's just, this is America. That's how we do things here. But I'm a huge credit union fan. And I think that if you're playing the long game, I think credit unions are the way to go because eventually you're going to have a great stock in your credit union and you're going to be paid returns on that money beyond just the normal like savings interest, like federal savings interest rate. Like you're actually going to get dividends for being a a big partner in the credit union. And I think it's a really important thing that shouldn't be overlooked.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm still looking, so I think
I
it's
don't know.
good that we all have looked into different things. And I haven't made a decision on it. Like I said, I like free money. I have to go and schedule a appointment, and certain areas aren't doing appointments because of COVID and this and that. It's something that I want to get done so that, like Alex said, all the stuff related to the business expenses are over there. It's easier to keep track of if I don't get a bookkeeper. Um, it's been weighing on me. I just haven't had the time to do it. But these are
Yeah,
things you can't
I'm
hold
doing it.
Yeah,
off on too long once you start making money with your
my
business.
situation might be changing too because like I said, when we hit our 2 year anniversary, I'm going to be restructuring
S
to an
corp,
LLC
LLC. Okay.
and or an S corp. I don't know. I have to talk to some people about that. But either way, I'm restructuring, and that means the business is
Congrats,
going to
my
need its own
man.
account. So when I now need to open a new account for just the business, like I'll be re-examining all of my options again. I may
Hmm.
not stay where I'm at right now. I don't know. So I have to kind of tackle this all with a fresh approach because the way that I've been doing things has been fine for a sole proprietorship. But if it doesn't stay that way, there's going to be some changes down the line. I'm gonna have to look at it fresh again as if I was starting over. So um,
Yep.
Hmm.
definitely a lot to consider.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yep.
I think my route is going to be the the credit union.
Hmm.
because I don't want to. It just seems like the big banks, you have to have like this minimum, but I don't have income coming in. It's more me spending. But I
Well,
also
that'll
want,
change. Ideally, it's going
well,
to change. So,
absolutely, absolutely. But like these first little jobs that I'm gonna get. So let me ask you this, just common sense question. I mean, you tell me. I'm getting a job, right? But I'm spending. Let's say an example. I'm getting a job, 10 coins, but I'm using 10 coins. So you see where I'm saying? Like I need to
not
have
yet.
20 coins. I have to spend what I have. So
Tony
do I take
has
the
5
money?
coins. He gave 3 to Sally. How many coins
No,
does
no, no.
Tony
Listen to
have
me.
left?
Listen. I'm trying to make sense. The money that I have coming in, I'm assuming I would just keep buying more stock,
So you're
right? I mean,
talking about your inventory. You're talking about
yes.
inventory
Like
management now.
how do you
So
people
there,
replenish
there,
that?
okay. So you're getting into a completely different realm. But so like for example, you keep stock. You have inventory. You have managed inventory. You have stuff on the shelves that you have to sell. So you're getting to the point where you're trying to one, push what you have on your shelves. You've got depreciation of assets. Blah blah blah. If instead you take an order like Alex did recently for coins. He doesn't have them. He either needs to buy those coins out of his own pocket and then make the sale, or he needs to outsource it. So you have to make the decision yourself. Am I going to have a longer lead time waiting on this, or am I going to pay out of pocket in the hopes that I sell all 10 of these coins later? And that kind of depends on what your
Hmm.
business is focused on, right, Tony?
Hmm. Yes, absolutely. But the thing you have to, I'm thinking now is so the thing that I'm thinking of is an example like cups and coins and stuff like that. Like if I get a job and I don't have that stuff in stock, it's like, well, what the heck am I going to do? Do I tell them, hey, it's a lead time of XYZ? Like an example, I'm not going to sit here and stock 20 Yeti cups. Well, I can't. I can, but I don't think I'm going to do that because Yeti cups, they're expensive.
How hard are
So
they to get versus getting your coins from China, though?
see, yeah, so it's like a balance act. Like, what do you do? Like, I know I'm coins, I'm kind of good. Like, I'm okay. But I'm saying for other things like cups and just other little items.
Yeah, and that's how
But
just in
obviously,
time
you would
manufacturing.
disclose. So obviously, you would disclose like, hey, like, how would you disclose that? Like, there's a lead time, like a Yeti cup or whatever. So you disclose that correctly. Like, you ain't
I do
gonna.
that all the time. I
Okay,
even do that here. Like one of the things, we don't keep any stock here ever. I don't keep any stock because I
absolutely.
just don't. I don't sell stuff to people. That's not what we do here. So when people come in and they're like, "I want a plaque," I mean, like I keep 3x1. We have 3x1 in brass and aluminum, and I keep
Hmm.
maybe 10 of each in a little drawer. And if they want any other size, I'm like, I can order that for you. My supplier usually gets me custom sized plates in 3 to 4 business days. And if
Yeah,
they're like, "Yeah,
Oh,
I want it," then great. I call Mark up and I'm like, "Yo, Mark, I need a 7x2 inch brass with black lacquer," and he's like, "Great, I'll have it right out to you." And I don't take a deposit on that because it's $7, and I'll use the plate for something else if the customer doesn't come back. But I certainly do on other things. Sometimes people call and they're like, "I want 50 tumblers engraved," and I was like, "Cool. Do you have the tumblers?" And they're like, "No," and I'm like, "Well, I can order them for you." But it's going to take an additional 3 to 5 days. And then if their order's over 200, that's usually my line is $200. So for orders over $200, I take a 50% deposit. And that usually covers all of the material and then a little bit of the profit, a little bit.
makes sense.
Um, and so I've made a tiny bit of money, but like Gio was saying, like I haven't lost anything. So if they don't ever come back and pay for the rest of their
You
tumblers,
have the material.
I have tumblers,
hmm
like,
yeah,
and so but that's just I come from like I don't like having inventory at the end of the year. When you pay taxes on all of the inventory you didn't sell. That counts as money. That's like bags of money sitting on your shelf, and the
yep.
government taxes you on that. So um that's why people have big blowouts at the blowout sales at the end of the year.
Mhm.
So they're trying to get rid of all that crap because they don't want to get taxed on it. So I hate
I
having
didn't
inventory.
freaking
It's
know
just
that, dude.
something
I am so like not in tune with taxes and money.
you're going to
Sorry, go
get.
ahead.
There's not that much. We're getting
It's
through a
crazy.
ton of it today. We're covering so much today. Um, and by the end of this episode, I feel like you're going to be a lot better prepared. We're going to have covered 90% of what you need to know to take your first 30 steps,
Yeah.
but just like, and that's coming from, so I do keep some inventory. I keep a couple sheets of like the Romark flat stock so I can cut things on demand if people want like little things cut out. And I keep a couple of the metal plates from customengravingplates.com. I keep those in my little drawer over there. And then that's it. I'll custom order anything in the whole entire world for you. You're just not going to have it tomorrow, and that's how we deal with inventory management. You would have to sell a ton of stuff. If I was selling 80 tumblers a month, like, you bet your ass I'm going to order 50, you know what I mean, a month from Johnson's Plastic Plus and have them sitting over there on the shelf, but I don't. So I don't order them. It's a constant rebalancing. It's not a solid number that's going to last you till the end of your days. Every month you got to be looking, what did we do last month? Did we sell enough of this that we need to buy more and keep some on hand? How do we do this month? Did we do enough of those last month that we need to buy more? I mean, this is like the plight of middle management for the last 70 years of business. People have been trying to master this. Mastering this is mastering business. It's simple, like, retail economics is just keeping inventory and not over purchasing and still making a profit, and like balancing those three things. That's business, man. That's what the game is. You're asking it's a very fundamental question, but it's very difficult to answer succinctly.
And remember, Tony, that like, okay, we're in laser engraving. So this is a very unique business that you can pretty much engrave anything somebody brings in. You can go outside and literally find a rock and you can get that engraved. So there is a wide range of stuff that people are going to want that they might not have. So you can't keep all that stuff in your garage. So people are going to understand it's the nature of the business. They're not going to get a one-day turnaround. If they want a one-day turnaround for something they have, they're going to pay for it. But for now, you're starting out. We're all starting out. Alex doesn't keep anything because he's done with it. I have stuff here. I've bulk ordered stuff to practice on. I've bulk ordered, dog tags and some tumblers because I want to practice it. I want to get stuff to showcase. Once those items go away or I give them away as promotional gifts, I'm not going to keep anything until someone wants it. And then it's going to be a 3 to 5 day business turnaround because I have to get it in order to do that. We want to keep our inventory low. Unless, like I said, you got coins for days, you want to keep those, you're probably going to move coins. You make really good coins. I've seen your stuff on Instagram. Where can they find you?
Instagram.
Etched ideas.
Etched _ ideas. Your idea. We'll etch it.
Little slow on the plug.
Like
but
that's the plug before we get the plug of the episode.
It's the pre-plug, bro.
The pre-plug.
You're going to sell them. You're going to sell them. So you're going to be fine having a few $100s worth of coins. I mean, the coins are expensive, $5, $6, $7. That's fine.
That's a really good point that Tacky's making too, is that, like, it doesn't make sense for me to keep inventory because I engrave 50,000 different kinds of items every year. But if you are dead set on like coins and tumblers, it's much safer for you to buy a bunch of coins and tumblers because that's your business. That's what you do. You don't have to worry about people asking you for weird shit because that's not a service you offer. So you don't have to stock anything else. If all you have is 8 different kinds of coins for your customers to pick from and 3 different kinds of tumblers, it's a much lower risk and much easier decision to buy at least basic levels of stock because your whole business revolves around moving that limited range of stock.
And
so I would argue that you out of any of the 4 of us, you should be keeping inventory.
Yeah. Well, I got coins. Trust
me. If you have people coming to you who want stuff and you don't want to do it, even though you can, send them to somebody else. You know other people who are in Texas on the Discord. You know other people in our network. You can say, hey, Alex did it the other day. He said, I got a guy who does coins. If you got something that you're not comfortable with, you don't want to do, or they need it fast, hey, I got a guy for it. We're here. It doesn't
even need to be like in your local state. I send people out of state all the time. I send people to the best people I know to get the job done.
Inventory and networking. Yeah, if you can't do it yourself, Tony, and you got someone who can, not pay it forward, but send them to somebody else.
So here's a little thing about paying it forward. When Alex said, "Hey, I got a coin guy," I'm 110% that Alex can do a coin. He just don't freaking want to. All right. This whole thing about
Shots
paying it
fired.
forward. What happened?
I said
You
I
got
don't.
You
fired?
good? You good?
No, whatever. Yeah, you can. You can do it.
Oh no, I can.
Anyways,
I don't want to though.
exactly. So here's my whole thing. Should I wait till Gio gets here?
No, it's fine. Don't worry about
Or?
it.
Okay. So, anyways, the paying it forward. The customer that you sent me wanted a set amount of coins, right? And it evolved to just, I need this, right? Now the emails are going back and forth saying for the set amount
It's
of
nightmare.
pricing for this, yes, back and forth, a lot of back and forth. Well, it was set to, I like it. Can we do this for, I guess they didn't, I'm not going to say they guilt trip me, but it is for a veteran organist. Like they work with veterans, and it hits home because I'm a veteran and I'm also not disabled. I'm disabled, but not in the way that people think, but I am a disabled veteran. So they're working with disabled veterans. Anyways, long story short, we came to a term, and those terms, if it goes well, it's going to be a revolving thing. Like I need 10, I need 20, I need 15.
You
Yep.
So
set up a business relationship.
I'm
That's
going
a
to
huge
be
score.
the
Yeah.
exclusive coin maker. Now, here's where I got another email this morning, actually, while we were what I was trying to do bitmap. These people that you, Alex, sent me had sent my things to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And these other people
Ha.
do only CO2. So they were like, "Hey, we seen some of your work. Would you like to do our coins or anything with fiber?" So I haven't replied because I just got it while we were in this whole thing to
So
see what
Excellent,
these
man.
terms are.
they sent your sample photo to a different business to see if they could
That
do it, and
includes-
now the
they
different
only-
business wants you to do work for them
Yes,
too.
because they
Yeah, man.
cannot. They can't. They have a CO2. They can't do
Oh
coins.
man,
So
I'm proud
Get
of that.
wrecked.
Look at that hookup, dude.
so you see how things go. Like Alex passed it down, and then that pass down just flourished to something else. So
Yeah, so let it be said too that you never
I'm
send
very grateful
your
for it.
vector files. By the way, you send a low quality JPEG. You don't send them your work so someone else can take that and do it
Mhm.
on somebody else's.
Tony, I
business.
think Tony
But-
sent actual photos of
Yeah.
the coins.
Yeah. I sent actual
Yeah,
photos
yeah,
of
yeah.
the
So
product.
good on
Yeah.
you, good on you. No, dude, that's great. And I do want to say it since we're on the business episode. If there are any of you guys, gals, whoever out there who are veterans or are in the service, and this is something you guys are considering, you can register. You can go to the VFW.com. Go and register as a veteran-owned business, and what that does, it puts you in a directory of where they more or less favor you versus somebody else. I mean, you can get government contracts, all sorts of different stuff, just being a veteran-owned business, and it's free. All you're doing is registering your information. So consider doing that if you guys have served or are serving.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good tip.
Thank you. No, but long story short, thanks, Alex. Like he could have easily saved it for him. But it's a small scale type of deal. But
It's not small scale,
it's
dude.
getting, it's getting my feet wet. It's getting
That
my
is
feet
your
wet.
first fucking repeat customer.
Yeah,
Don't undersell it,
exactly.
dude. That's an amazing accomplishment, and you've already got a new business contact now out of that too.
Absolutely.
So you're doing work for another business and this lady with the coins. You scored double, and you know it's going to be a recurring thing. It's a huge deal, dude. I wouldn't undersell
And
it.
yes, and it's going to be revolving. I mean, with me as of now, because it's not like they have these classes, and as people graduate, I don't want to tell too much, but as people pass through their class or
Yep.
whatever it is, they get in a custom coin. So it's not like it's like 10 and done. I'm assuming, maybe the first 10 they're going to look at it and see and maybe move elsewhere. But if from the emails they liking it, and it might just be a repeat thing. I spent 4 hours yesterday setting up my real quick. I think I spent about 3 hours setting up my cross jig. So now all I got to do is place a coin where I'm at, load the file,
You
and
know
it'll
where
be
it
four
is.
at a time.
Yep,
Exactly.
that's
That's
perfect.
awesome,
So that's
man.
all
you
I
got
spent.
your
glad
jig
that-
set up. Excellent.
I'm
man.
really glad that she reached out to you. She never emailed me back, so I
Thank
didn't
you.
know.
Dude,
I didn't know if she had reached out to you or what, because she never
She did.
never said anything to me. So
She
I'm
did.
glad
Thank you.
I'm glad that came through. Yeah,
So, no,
and
you
I'll
with
keep
us?
doing that.
Contacts, man. Contacts. That's good, man. I really appreciate it. So
Yep.
that's
Yep.
like kind of getting my feet wet, and that's why I was asking, setting up Square and I don't want to send a Cash App link, so I want to kind of look a
Yeah,
little bit
Square's
legit.
super easy. This is a we'll do another episode on just like transaction processing, because that can be a whole episode, and we need to do an episode on social media. So I'm not going to get too into it, but Square is absolutely because it doesn't cost anything, and you can just instantly start sending invoices to people. You can cash people out in store, and you can set up like a website through them to just like sell a couple basic products super fast. So it literally is like all your avenues of transaction processing.
Yep, I already have it. I have a little dongle coming just in case I do something local.
Yeah, man. Yep. That's exciting, man. You're going 0 to 60 with your stuff. You don't even want to.
Get that website, you don't even want to,
and you're like,
I know, I have to, man. That website needs to be done quick.
The danger with that, just so you know,
if you do lose that business,
that and a lot of these companies will just be like, we've spent $10,000 with Geo making X, and the laser that he's using to make it is $6,000. So next year maybe we should just pick one up, and then they, it happens. Yeah, it's totally always a risk, but it's a little bit of an extra risk when you are doing like massive volumes for a small number of customers. Like the people that need one-off stuff from me, and the people doing like R&D and shit like that, like they need me because nobody's going to buy a $7,000 laser to try 10 R&D parts and then never need it again, So I'm not saying it's a bad business model. I'm not saying it's a bad business model at all. I'm envious of that business model. I wish I could backtrack and do something like that. It's just something to, think about.
Yeah, it's possible too that the people you're getting that repeat business from are not interested in learning how to set up a fiber laser. They might have clicked on a quick Facebook group and said, no, this ain't for me. I mean, even us, we're still struggling. We're struggling through it. But that is what I thought was, they decide to, go to someone else that also does it and, move their business elsewhere. But yeah, what you said, I never thought about maybe someone says, hey, I could buy a laser and do it myself. Definitely possible.
But then you gotta
I think what you got
doing it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have
build the relationship,
like if you have 8
build the
clients,
relationship.
If you have 8 clients and you lose one, now you have 7.
That's significant.
I just like, I don't know. It's just not as
8 minus 1. Yeah, it's 7. So yeah.
Hey, you know what? Mr. Tony has 5 coins and he gave 3 to Sally.
Dude, please cut that. That just sounds like
I'm not cutting it. That's
the coin is leaving the laser station.
I am gonna cut the episode though. We are officially over an hour. I think we've covered a ton of really, really great information for the people that are listening today. So if you're here and listening, thank you so much for listening and hanging out with us, watching if you're on YouTube for a little while. I hope that you took something out of this. I hope you got some value out of it. Of course, you can always leave questions or comments in the description if you're on YouTube or on the Discord. There's a link to the Discord in the description as well. And we'll go ahead and do our best to get those answered for you. We're not experts, but we're walking the path. So at the very least, we can give you a little perspective. Geo is lost on us again here, but you can find Geo on the Discord, where we will be very soon, from what I hear from him, updating you guys on his new YouTube channel. We'll be posting links to every new episode of Geo's YouTube channel on our Discord, so stay locked on the Discord to find out more about what he's doing, which is called Maker Theory, MAKR Theory, where he's going to get into a bit more of the technical side of what we're doing with these lasers. And I'm really excited to watch that content and learn from him. Tacky, you've got a bunch of stuff going on. Where can people find what you are doing right now?
You can find me at Polygon Printing on Instagram and YouTube right now. Starting to add plenty more content, putting out the showcase right now, and then we're going to start ramping it up here very soon. You guys should see some fun stuff.
Very cool. And Tony, what about you, dude? You got some stuff for us yet?
Yep. Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Etched_ideas. I'm sure we're going to link them somewhere. I put out pretty much everything I do. I kind of take, the social media thing. So you'll see exactly what I'm doing and I'm working on, or if it's samples or stuff like that. So we'll link everything, but Etched_ideas is the main thing where we can find me. Website's coming. I had it done, but it's pulled down to have an expert do it. So
very cool. Very, very cool. All right. Well, we'll definitely check up on all of that. If you want to learn all about the cast of the show, check out the website. It's lasereverything.net/podcast. You can check out lasereverything.net to also see my YouTube channel. That's where we all kind of congregate and hang out. Laser Everything. And, we do YouTube tutorials on how to do laser engraving and, settings and fiber lasers and CO2 lasers and all kinds of crazy stuff. So if you're interested in that side of things, Laser Everything is a great place to go check out. We've got the 2021 buying guide. It's got a huge list of all the gear that you need. We've got a lasers page that talks about the lasers we use in our shops, and a whole bunch more. So that's really just the best place to go to kind of hub out for all of this is lasereverything.net. And again, we have the podcast page that links to all of our casts and their various projects and things as well. And that's it. I think that's all I've got. Thank you guys so much again for joining us for today's episode, and we'll catch you in the next one. See you later.
See you next week.
bye.
Bye.